Hello everybody, this is a Warhammer 40k blog about Chaos Space Marines and an army list I'm preparing for a game against a member of my support bubble. Remember, these are COVID days, so if anything comes up, a cough or anything, then it's going to be cancelled. But in the meantime, support bubbles are allowed to interact, and I'm a guy living alone, so that's one of the advantages. Anyhow, I've got videos and everything to show you, right, for this army list. It's a 2,500 point army list, although it doesn't look it, right? And I've mixed it up a bit compared to my normal games. So we're going to talk about that now. Now this is a friendly army list, it's not a competitive army list because I'm not a competitive player. Now, first guy is Typhus. I use him, the old Typhus model, I use him as my Chaos Lord because quite frankly it's a really cool model and I really like it. So he's my warlord. I've given him Lord of Terror, so anybody that comes within 6 inches has to roll an extra dice for morale tests. Trouble is, I think he's going to be playing against Ultramarines, so the chances of me, seeing any use to that is remote. But I'm going to give it a try anyway because that seemed like a fun warlord trait to take, and I'm determined he's going to be in amongst them. With that in mind, I've given him a pulse cleaver, which is a +2 to wound against everything. I mean, everything's a +2 to wound except for vehicles. And he's not there to take on vehicles, he's there to take on infantry. I've also given him a combi flamer because he is going to be amongst them and he is going to be charged and he will need that flamer. So yeah, he's equipped for the job. Going down, we've got a Demon Prince. Right, now I've got Zeech here because it's a cut and paste from the armies, but it's actually Nurgle in this game. So let me just change that to Nurgle before we go, that's better. Right, now this guy carries a demonic axe. He is there to take on tanks and vehicles and dreadnoughts and things like that. That's his primary job. Right, he's got 1 power, warp time or smite he's allowed to use. Chaos Space Marines. I've got 5 squads of these. I always take a lot of Space Marines because quite frankly, oops, I've broken it. Because quite frankly, I found if you don't carry enough troops on the board or have enough troops, you lose. Simple as that. So 5 squads of normal Chaos Space Marines. Now the Youngbloods, as I call them, they're just basically plasma guns. But I always give the aspiring champion something special. In this case, he's got a plasma pistol and a lightning claw. So basically, it's very similar, two identical lists. But when you get down to the Plagueborn, they're my other Chaos Space Marine units. They carry heavy weapons. They're painted slightly differently. This first one has got a heavy bolter, so he's good against infantry. The next 2 basically have missile launchers, so they're good against everything. Now, the aspiring champions all got different things. This one here has got a combi melter gun. So he's going to be good against tanks and infantry. The other guy's got a combi melter gun. And the bottom one's got a combi plasma gun. Right, so they're quite dangerous, these these Chaos Space Marines. Are not to be snuffed at. But they're the ones that hold the board for me. Anyhow, beyond that, I've got a Land Raider. Yes, I took a Land Raider. Now, I could have gone for Hellbrutes, which is what I'd normally go for, because I like Hellbrutes. But I just haven't fielded my Land Raider in so long, I thought, why not? Right? And I've also got my Predator out at the same time. Now, I rarely field them 2 together. Very, very rarely. In fact, I can't remember. I must have done it at some point, but I can't remember doing it. But there they are. And here it comes to the secret weapon. 2 squads of 3 bikes. Now, bikes, they're fast attack. Now, they have a special set of rules when it comes to configuring them. You might not see the benefit at first, but they're quite good. Now, if you take only 3 bikes, right, you don't take any more than that, then you can basically equip any bike you want with a chainsword, which I do. Then you get to put a champion with a champion's equipment list. So I gave him a combi melter or a combi flamer. right? Because basically these bikes are going to be in amongst them, real close, intercepting anything coming at me and attacking anything that doesn't. They are going to be charged, and they are going to be taking a battering, right? So these guys have to be tough. They're like Terminators on wheels for me. So yeah, between them they've got 3 bolt guns. Actually, they've got 2 combi bolters. No, 3 combi bolters. So that's 6 shots from that. And then they've got a combi flamer there. So that's 7 shots off bolt guns and a flamer so far. And then I gave them 2 melter guns. So let's just run that down, shall we? The 2 guys on the bikes at the back, the 2 guys at the champion, they're carrying melter guns and 2 combi bolters. So that there is 6 shots with bolt guns and 2 shots with melt guns. The champion, he's got a combi bolter as well, but he's also got a combi flamer, so he can fire 4 shots. No, 3 shots with, no, it's double, isn't it? I can't remember anyway. But anyway, he's basically got the equivalent of 3 bolt guns, right? And a flamer. And that's just in 1 squad. And I've got 2 squads of them. In that configuration, they are remarkably good against attacking things. They always get their points back. And their points is only 114 points. They don't have to do much to get that back, and they do get it back. Anyhow, I've got a spearhead detachment supporting everything. Right? Now, the spear detachment is a Lord Discordant. Now, this Lord Discordant is there because this spear detachment is mostly Forge Fiends, Defilers and things like that. But I've also included a Warp Smith to help with repairing of all vehicles and stuff. But they've got a Defiler in there. Now, this is the standard Defiler of the box standard configuration. Battle Cannon, Defiler Claws, Defiler Scourge, Auto Cannon. I do not recommend people configure Defilers by the default rule. Pick one. Either make it Assault or make it Shooty. Don't try and do both. Right? I mean, I haven't really used them a lot in 9th, but in 8th, I found they suffered when you split the difference. So specialise, right, as much as you can. Anyway, mind you, they can move and fire now, so it's less of a problem now. Before, you know, if they moved, they was hitting on a 5, so moving was bad, but you had to move to get into close combat. Now I suppose that's not an issue, so maybe it makes no difference anymore. Anyhow, I've got a Venom Crawler, right, one of the new models, with an Excruciator Cannon and a Vivisection Claws and so free of Tendrils. So yeah. Right, and then below that, Forge Fiend, my favourite thing, Forgy I call him. Right, now he comes with 2 Hades auto cannons and Demon Claws. That's it. He's just going to lay down fire. Now, because he's kind of like, he can move and fire now, he's going to hit it on a 4 before any rerolls. So I can actually move him about. He can be more mobile now than he was in 8th. So that's good. And at the bottom, reinforcements are the Chaos Lord, says with a jump pack and Thunder Hammer and Plasma Pistol, and then a squad of Raptors and a squad of Warp Talons. That's 5-man squads. And the idea is, because these are actually in any detachment because they're reinforcements, they'll just appear whenever I want them to appear, you know, in any place I want them to appear in. But let's just think about that, right? I've got 2 squads and I'm basically a Chaos Smash Captain that can come on as reinforcements. If you remember at the top, I said I had a Demon Prince with wings. So that Demon Prince can easily support them when they come in. And I've got bikes. Again, they can easily support them when they come in. The Chaos Space Marines, they'll hold the board. I've got some heavy firepower down there, although it's still not a match for the Space Marine firepower that you get these days. But a Land Raider is nothing to be snuffed at. So I've got laser cannons everywhere here. Should be good for taking out anything too heavy. It'll certainly give the heavy stuff something to think about other than my assault troops, won't it? That's a trick, you see, giving your opponent something else to shoot at besides your important troops. Because if you just field like one knight and loads of cultists, they're going to think, sod the cultists, I'm just going to kill the knight. But if you field one knight, one land raider, and a defiler, then they've got three problems they've got to shoot at. They've got to defile the fire. Unless they realise it's best to focus the fire and get at least one knocked out, and they pick the right one, because a lot of people don't, you're going to find, you know, something you need is going to survive, and it's going to do well in the game. So the trick is not to limit yourself to one good model. Stick a few good models in there, you know, give the guys something to shoot at, you know, that isn't just an obvious target. Anyway, the Lord Discordant, just to go over it, the Lord Discordant's taken, I was going to take some of the other new models, but I decided not to because I wanted to field this. Now we can regenerate a wound of 10, just like all Demon Forge things can. He's got an Aurora, so anybody shooting at him, you know, that's within 6 inches, is at -1, right? -1 to hit. And any other Legion unit that's also a Demon Engine gets a +1 to hit when they're within 6 inches. So you can guess where he's going to be. He's going to be right in the middle of all my Demon Forge engines. So they're not going to be hitting on a 4, they're going to be hitting on a 5. I mean on a 3, whilst they're moving. Because he's going to add +1 to it. Now, I can't, under 9th edition, I can't add more than a +1. +1 is all they're going to get. However, right, there's a commander here, which I run as a Chaos Lord. Remember our friend Typhus? He does a reroll of 1s for any Legion models within 6. So if I keep him nearby, he basically gets to, actually he's not going to keep up, I don't think, he's got 5. But if he's nearby, then they're going to re-roll 1s and hit on a 3. So those Forge Fiends and Venom Crawlers are suddenly going to be very dangerous because of 2 models nearby. And don't forget, my Chaos Lord is designed to get amongst them, so he probably won't be in the area. But what will be in the area though will be my Warpsmith, and he basically can heal things rather quickly. It's entirely possible that between their natural regeneration of 1 wounded turn and the Warpsmith, they might not take any wounds at all throughout the entire game. On the other hand, I might put him with the tanks. But the tanks, I don't want the tanks held back by Warpsmith, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a fairly simple strategy. It involves Chaos Space Marines holding the ground, whilst Forge Fiends and that lot lay down fire and move around, and the tanks charge around, and the assault troops drop in and cause as much trouble as possible. In my experience, once you get into close combat in the enemy's front line, if you're using the right troops, and when I say the right troops, I mean either lots and lots of cultists, Zangors or things like that, or something decent in combat, usually it's game over at that point. You just roll up the front line and there's nothing they can do about it. So either they'll get shot to pieces coming in and that strategy just won't work and it'll be a shooting match, or they will win me the game, the Lightning Claws and Reapers, although there's only 10 of them in the Smash Captain, so I don't think it will win as such, but it'll definitely cause a lot of damage. And don't forget, right, the Smash Captain's got a Thunder Hammer, so vehicles won't be safe. Anyway, let's look at some other bits and then we'll finish off this, this video. Here is the battalion of troops and armour, and a few fast attack thrown in there, the bikes, as you can see. A Land Raider, because you've just got to, haven't you? And a Predator. Now usually I'd take a few Hellbrutes, but I decided to mix it up a bit this game. And of course lots of Chaos Space Marines and 2 HQ units. Demon Prince and Typhus, but it's not going to be Typhus in this game, he's just going to be a Chaos Lord. I just like the model. Here you've got reinforcements. You've got the equivalent of a Chaos Smash Captain and Wart Talons and Raptors. They're going to come on later. And right at the back you've got all the Demon Forged engines with Lord Discordant right there, looking rather sharp to help them out, plus a Venom Crawler. Under the 9th edition rules they can now move and shoot without a penalty, so a lot of the cards I'd normally use to make them effective aren't needed anymore, so I've now got lots of command points, not much to spend it on. So anyhow, yeah, this is the army itself. 2,500 points worth. Now, it's not optimal, it's not competitive, but it wasn't designed to be. It was designed to be fun. And this bit over here is going to give me lots of fun. He is going to give me lots of fun in conjunction with them. They are going to make sure my opponent can't ignore them. These guys here also are going to make my opponent wonder what to shoot at first. These are going to stop him getting anywhere, and these are going to hold the objectives and win me the game. So yeah, everything's got its place, and that's the key thing when you're doing an arm list, is to have an idea where everything's going to go and what everything's going to do. Now I'm expecting these to die rather quickly, so they'll be getting in fast, doing the work, dying. I'm expecting these to just slog on throughout the entire game, just hitting things and doing reasonable damage. I'm expecting these here to absorb a lot of fire. I'm expecting them to get in the way of the opponent a lot. Meanwhile, these are just going to creep up slowly. Doesn't seem a lot, I admit. Right? Setting doesn't look a lot to me, but I've got a lot of big units on the board this time round, so that's why. There you go then. Now, the way I'm expecting the game to go is I'm expecting my opponent to go first and ruin my strategy from the off. Right? That's why I get to pick when my reinforcements come on. But a lot of these can regenerate hits, so when you start your first turn, keep all your important bits hidden. Limit the targets they can shoot at. That way they can't cripple you on turn one. From that point on, you come out of the shadows and start shooting. If you go in first, you want to be shooting straight away, as much firepower as possible. Now, I like to destroy one of the flanks. I don't care which flank it is, as long as it gives me an edge. I like to focus fire and destroy a flank, rather than take bits out all along the front line. Just take out one side completely, leave a massive weak point at one side. To do that, and when I'm placing my armies, I'm placing them apparently randomly. But when I actually come down to put down troops, I'm kind of saving the best back for last. And usually people think that's a Land Raider or something, but not necessarily. Sometimes I'll put the Land Raider down first, so my opponent has to put something down to oppose it, so I can see where his heavy stuff's going to be. Right? The Land Raider will probably survive, his stuff probably won't, you see. So if the Land Raider survives, I can just repair it, you know, and it'll be off and it'll shoot things. But the other way is you keep things back and you slowly just put the stuff you want just one side. Or if you're Thousand Sons, you put them where you don't want them to be, you know. Oh, over here, right in front of his big guns where they'll die immediately. And they go, oh yeah, they put more and more weapons there to kill these off straight away. And then you use a couple of cards and a Dark Crystal to move them somewhere else. And he's in the wrong position, you see. So deployment itself is part of your strategy. It's how you place things down and whether you can move them later, you know, that makes things work. In a way, it's kind of like it's a ruse, basically. You're saying, yes, I'm going to wipe you off the floor this side, when actually all your men are going to be at the other side destroying that bit in front of them. And the bit in front of them might be a knight, it might just be a squad of tactical marines, it might be a important objective. It always depends on the game. But always use the deployment time to think about where you're positioning things. And always use the time when you're planning your army to decide whether you can move units during the first turn from one side of the board to the other, or before the game starts. Because in some armies, like Thousand Sons, they've got multiple ways of doing that. Right? I mean, I think the Spacemen can do that with Scouts, is it? But with Thousand Sons, they're the masters of it. Chaos Space Marines, not so much. I think you've got Tide of Traitors, and that's it. But still, you can still do it with Tide of Traitors. So yeah, make full use of the deployment time and your pre-game setups to just see which combinations you can get to use as kind of distractions or ruses. Because remember, if you get like 24 blob of cultists, and then suddenly he's deployed to destroy it and they move over there on turn one, you know, he's in the wrong place. And that's one of the strategies used to win games. Right, see you in the next one.